Here is Divine Exchange. This is a 16 two-hand, 8-year-old thoroughbred mare by Verrazano. And Verrazano is a sire I'm a huge fan of, and I always jump at the opportunity to get any of his in my program, and this mare is no exception. So Miss Divine, she had 46 starts, so she is a hard-knocking war horse. Her last start was just about exactly a month ago in mid December. And so this is her little introduction to jumping because that's what everybody has been asking me about is to see her jump. So we did it today, and actually I have to say I rode her yesterday also. We didn't do any jumping or anything yesterday. Yesterday was unbelievably cold and insanely windy. And in the middle of our ride, I rode her first, and then after I rode her, I decided no good could come from riding any other horses that day because my ring is actually kind of dry right now. And so when I was on her yesterday, first one out, I'm like, I'm giving this a try in the wind. So we're trotting around the ring, and this gust of wind comes through and is so strong that it literally whips the sand footing up into like a dust storm and blinds us. I mean, it was horrible. There was just sand everywhere. You couldn't see. Um, Divine was very good because she didn't do anything wrong, but she was clearly unhappy, as was I. And so I just sort of realized in that moment, oh, and I was riding by myself. And I just sort of realized in that moment, like, what am I doing? I had this moment of clarity, like, this is dumb. Nothing productive could come from this. I'm just torturing this poor horse for no reason. So anyway, I got off. And then today she was really good. And so I feel like I made the right decision. She clearly didn't need to do a ridiculous ride in horrible um, circumstances because she was very lovely today. So she's had probably about a half a dozen rides now. And, where she is basically that. So she's 8 years old. She ran 46 times. She has been going one way for quite a while. And she is being really good. And obviously, she's a lovely mover and very correct in a lot of ways. But it's going to take some time for her body to sort of recalibrate and completely adjust to this sort of new way of going that I'm asking her to give a try here. And she is giving it a try. I mean, her progress from her first ride, which I actually have some video of if you go back into her playlist, to today is like unbelievable. Also probably making things a little bit tougher for her. It's just that she's thin and she is gaining weight. She was really thin when she came. She's a phenomenal eater. And so she's gaining weight, but she also needs more weight, more fat, more muscle, all the things. And so I do think that she is a type of horse who will certainly benefit from a little bit slower program than, sometimes these 3, 4, and 5 year olds, especially ones who didn't race, they're just ready to rock on right away. Excuse me, not ones that didn't race a lot. They're just ready to rock on right away and just roll forward, full steam ahead. This mare needs a little bit more time, I think, to adjust and recalibrate to everything that I'm asking her to do or whoever her next human is asking her to do. So I really don't foresee jumping her again in the near future. She really just needs to spend more time getting stronger on the flat. I do think that doing tons and tons of pole work and cavaletti work will be so useful for her. So I'm sure what you're seeing here is that she isn't sure how to use her head and neck when she's going over anything, basically a ground pole, a little filler, a little jump. It doesn't matter what it is. She's not using her head and neck in her best interest. So what you're seeing is her head goes up, she hollows her back, and then she doesn't use her top line in any sort of a productive way. Actually, that was better there. So she needs to learn to lower her entire frame of her neck and obviously to be a little bit steadier in the contact as she goes over whatever the thing is, sort of to trust the connection and trust the rein a little bit more. So basically, there's no magical wand here to wave. It's just repetition. Now, what I do think will really help her will be learning to canter over poles, because I've learned that when they sort of have this issue where they want to lift their head too much and not use their head and neck effectively, and then they hollow their back. What really helps them figure out to not do that, or that it's in their best interest to lower their head and neck to allow them to use their top line better, is actually learning how to nicely come out of the canter. The canter is just, it's more fluid and it just promotes the rounder shape that we want her to make. Of course, she is not ready to be cantering jumps, but ground poles are fair game and very forgiving. You can make the hugest mistake in the world and when you're just doing ground poles, it's just no big deal. There's no stakes with ground poles, or no high stakes. So what she really needs to do is just spend time learning to canter ground poles. And once she learns to softly and correctly canter a ground pole, I'm sure that she will come back to the jumps and understand the process. So in this ride, all I was trying to achieve was getting her to sort of soften, use her top line a little bit more as we came out of the trot. And so I left a bunch of the times when it wasn't so great in here, but I think it's important to see that, so that then you can appreciate when she does do a better effort, where she's coming from. I always think that the progress is such the interesting thing. And that was much better, actually, to those flowers right there. And keeping in mind that this is the very first time she's ever done this, and that was better too, actually. So in no way is it perfect, but it is getting noticeably better as she goes. And on top of that, she's doing a new thing on a windy day. She's being super brave and willing to give it all a go. It's super impressive, especially for an 8-year-old with 46 starts. She's just so game to do anything. Horses like this, they just have an unbelievable work ethic and willingness to give anything a try. Oh, that was a little bit better. And I also say that about cantering ground poles because she does have a phenomenal canter. I mean, she really can sit and use herself correctly in the canter. So using that will also really help her. I like to get them going in the trot first to jumping, but that doesn't always work for every single horse. And she is one that just feels like learning to come from the canter will really help her to understand how to use her body more correctly to help her to make a better shape so that it feels good. So anyway, all of that is really why, I have her at $5,000. I'm open to reasonable offers because I do recognize that I'm not going to continue full blast ahead with this mare. She's not going to do any more jumping in the near future. And so she's going to sort of take the slow and steady road. And so I really want to find her someone who's really capable and really willing to do that. She is a supremely talented horse, and she's absolutely going to be worth the time that somebody invests in her. She is trying really hard. Such a great canter. I think we're just about wrapping up here. The crossrail was sort of like our grand finale. Even though it wasn't perfect, I was really happy that the time before she landed in the canter. Then this time we came and she was less impressed, and so she just sort of trotted over it like a ground pole. And so here she is on the ground. I think that she has the cutest red mare face ever. I just love her big ears. Something about big ears on a red mare, it's like the cutest thing in the world. She also has a really big, intelligent eye.